the physio. I'm guessing Sam will probably get parts of this, but we did like a little mini in-person checking because I hadn't seen him for a few days, and like it's more so a sense where like pretty close condition wise, still a little bit to come off, but with 3 and a bit weeks, like it's just a case of coasting really and just kind of pulling away when appropriate. There's still, like I said, a little bit to still come off, which is going to be the case at this point, but at the same time, like I'm running that fine line between flattening out, which kind of, you said, like my midsection, my chest loses a bit of fullness, and then my midsection gets like,
I think that's what I always notice. Like,
yeah,
I think probably as well that's because it's one of your less
developed
areas.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So when it's full, it's like, oh, it actually looks pretty good. When
Yeah.
it's flat, it's like, okay, your midsection looks a little bit washed out.
Yeah.
I think that's when, like, usually after the second day of refeed, your midsection looks good.
Yeah, I agree. And then if anything, I also think that makes like my back look worse because it's like it's almost all that kind of, there's not that pressure against the skin when it comes to kind of like musculature.
Yeah.
So it just makes fullness is one of those sort of things where like you can look noticeably leaner just based off fullness.
So that's kind of think where you are right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say, oh, the work's been done, because it hasn't, but the hard work's been done. Like, you're not digging anymore. It's not like, oh shit, we need to push. Like,
no,
keep doing what you're doing. Ultimately, even if you were to just, let's say, fill up every 5 days between now and then, the days that you're not filling up, your food's still low enough to be in a decent deficit. You probably pull off another 1, maybe maximum 2 kilos.
Yeah.
But you'll then be able to fill up more and look better for it. Like, you're in that nice spot at the end of a prep. I know it's not really the end. It's not like even first show hasn't been, but you know what I mean? It's the end of the hard part where it's like, oh, I've done the hard work. I'm pretty much there. Now it's like I always said to clients, like saying to clients last year, like, this is the best bit. This is the most enjoyable bit. And like, this was when people start panicking and stressing. And it's like, you've already done all the hard work. Like, just enjoy this part. This is the bit where you get to eat a bit more food. This is the bit where you look a bit better every day. This is the bit where you're posing a bit more because you're wanting to see how you look between each meal. Like, that's the best bit.
This is, in my opinion, this is actually when you're prepping.
That's when that's what you remember as well.
The start is a diet where you're just losing body fat. Yeah. It's literally a case of like, if I was to say to you at 12 weeks out, oh, I'm flat, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not, you might be flat, but you've got body fat to pull off. It's literally a case of, right, you've got body fat to pull off. At this point, it's very much a case of prepping, where it's day-to-day manipulations.
Getting you into the best spot.
Yeah, day-to-day tweaks, day-to-day manipulations, trainings being regulated based off how you feel, cardio. To be fair, cardio is staying the same. There's no real changes or anything like that. And like, if anything, at this point, like, this is, I think, when a lot of people, like you said, overstress, overanalyze the things they don't need to worry about. Like right now for me,
like who they're competing against.
Yeah, like right now for me, it's literally a case of knowing, okay, I've probably realistically got 1 kilo to maybe 1.5 kilos worth still to pull off. I'd say that's maybe 2, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. My rate of loss has been about 1.5 kilos a week still, even with the refeeds. So for that's, if anything, could be slowed down. So that's the reason why we're going to be refeeding a little bit more frequently. It was originally every 7 to 9 days. Now it's going to probably be every 5-ish days, depending on how things are. I said earlier, I don't really want to be going off body weight as a direct metric based off the fact that like I look sharper and tighter today and my body weight's pretty similar to what it was 3 days ago. Granted, my routine's been a little bit different being in Manchester.
You look better at, so what, you were 98.7 this morning?
99.7.
99.7?
Yeah.
So you'd look better at 100.5 than you would at 98.5?
Yeah, 100%.
Based on fullness. You'd be leaner at 98.5, but because you'd be very flat, you look worse. Yeah,
so it's a case now of like almost not discarding body weight, still using it as a metric and wanting to see, let's say, maybe an all-time new low, but I'm not going to chase, like, for example, the refeed. If I'm not going to make a tweak to training down on training day food, if I'm 90, let's say if I'm 99 kilos come Sunday, I'm going to refeed. If I'm 99.4 kilos, I'm still probably going to refeed. If I was 98 kilos tomorrow, I'm going to refeed probably tomorrow. Like, it's going to be a case where I'll utilize the data when appropriate, but it's not where I need to be like, right, I need to get to a certain weight, because I can just look at the visual and think, right, I've not seen, like when I posed post-workout on Wednesday, I instantly looked at myself and I was like, right, this is the leanest I've probably ever been. It's the sharpest I've been, but I'm also flattening out. And today's a low non-training day. It's my first day back in routine. I'd imagine body weight will probably drop tomorrow. If it does, cool, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm not going to stress out and go, I need to make changes.
I think like
it's in a good spot, you know?
That's what I say to clients a lot of the time, is that like body weight is a good measurement and it's a good guide as to sort of giving us an indication of where we're at and where we're going. But when you start obsessing over it and setting targets from it, like, I have to get down to this by this point, or I have to do this by this point, it's like that's when you start putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, start stressing, and you stop looking at the actual look and you start looking at the scale. And it's like,
And I think, if I'm honest, I did that a bit too much probably last time, where it was like, I think
you need to do it up to a certain point.
I agree. And then I think it's a case of almost like, if you were to say to me now, don't weigh yourself for the rest of the prep, I would still want to. But I think
you'd still be able to come in and look minute.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think if anything, like I'm not going to take much data from body weight at this point, especially as well. We've got to realise with enhancement, like just based on the fact my training's still really positive, that's going to drive the look. Like 3 weeks of having androgens at pretty much peak dose for this prep, that's going to result in a better visual look regardless. So that's going to play in a role. And then also, if we think about things, so for example, your himbine, growth hormone, they're going to be slowly pulled out. Your himbine's going out from 2.5 weeks out from the first show. So that's a week. 6 days from now. Yeah, a week today. So just that alone, that's going to drop off sub-Q water. Growth hormone is going to be pulled out like 4 to 6 days, depending on that, or slowly titrated down. And these are things that we can utilize to leverage fat loss, but then also as well, they're going to be holding some water retentive purposes. So things like that. And then likewise, your stack design. Like, let's say if I was to throw in something like Winstrol, that's going to, again, promote a completely, not different look, but again, it's something that's going to potentially play a role. That's not to say Winstrol's going in. It's just more so me just kind of throwing that out there. Because it's on deck. It's on hand.
Got it ready.
Yeah, I got it ready. I got it ready
to
deploy.
We were just saying that in terms of body weight. Like, yeah. I think a lot of the time people fall into the trap the other way around. And I think you did that last year because...
Year before, bro.
2 years ago. Yeah. You were the same body weight for like... however many weeks throughout the prep, and you were like, yeah, but I'm getting leaner. And I was like, yeah, but you're not going to compete at this weight. No. And you were like, yeah, I know, but I'm getting leaner. It's like, yeah, you are getting leaner, but like, and it's the same with people, even just in like a general diet, or like, you know, for example, like somebody who's like, oh, I want to go on holiday, so I want to get leaner for holiday. And then like 2 weeks in, they'll look leaner, but they'll be the same weight. And you'll go,
could you not say that's good? Same with food? Like someone will get down to like, let's say 400 carb, and they'll go, yeah, but I want to drop lower than this. Like that, and then but it's like, but then you ask them, but your food's going to get lower than this.
Yeah, it's so similar kind of
thing. Like it's a similar sort of thought process, and it's like, I think there's going to be times where like being attached to body weight is like something you want to pay attention to. You always want to pay attention to body weight. You always want, but like the visual look towards the end is the most important thing. And like I said, when it comes to food, you'll have someone who goes, oh, I don't really like the thought of starting a prep at X amount of carbs. They might go, well, I was at 900 peak off season. So you're telling me I'm like, I said to Josh, Josh is at 850 carb on training days, and he was asking me like, what do you reckon my starting prep carbs will be? I was like 550, and he was like 400. Like, high. Yeah, he was like 400 off. I was like, honestly, mate, that probably, I said that 300 off. Yeah, 300 off. Sorry, prep. Can't think. And I said to him, I was like 300 off. I was like, yeah, sound. I was like, I said to him, that's probably the highest. I reckon it might be 500. It might be 475.
Yeah. I was like, as well, like you probably have to pull that down within a week or two as well.
Yeah. And he was almost surprised. I was like, well,
that'll get him back down to like maintenance.
Yeah, is it going to get lower? When you're so above a calorie set point, you can get away with it. And again, it's the same. For example, when it comes, and this is the caveat to it. You spin it around for where I'm at right now. I'm refeeding. So let's say my last 2 refeeds, I ran pretty close to 500 carb on a rest day, dropped weight. So we both know that we need to push up rest day food when it comes to the next refeed. And then I've ran 750 carb and I gained 1.5 kilos. So that's pretty much objective. Like I have to have like 1,200 to 1,300 carbs. I lose weight the first day if it's a low day. If it's a rest day.
Low high day.
Low high day. God, that's confusing. And then likewise, I gain weight the following day on that second day where glycogen stores are going to be a little bit fuller. I'm going to obviously be having a high amount of food due to food volume and likewise total calories from a train day, and body weight goes up objectively by about 1.5 kilos. So if we were to assess, let's say, the data based off that, that's going to give us, I say, a better sort of understanding for how that can be implied. But in reality, when it comes to, let's say, other sort of situations, we can always manipulate food, and it's like it's only going to help us when it comes to giving us data and understanding how things are. And again, like if we were to have a look, I'm rambling on at this point, mate, so carry on. My brain's gone blank. Literally, I was talking. I was like, well, I don't even know where I started. What was I talking? I was talking about. I don't even know.
No, I want in terms of the body weight thing.
Yeah. So I was talking about body weight, and then I was like, I was on a really good point, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't think you were. I think you were talking about food. I know what you're saying in terms of like people will go, oh shit, I'm pulling off X amount of carbs, like. Yeah. What we spoke about before, I don't want to use too much too soon, but it's like you're not going to finish prep on 500 carbs on training days. Like you're going to have to pull more off.
When I'm back to a baseline, because then I drop to a baseline, and because I'm already in a deficit by quite a significant amount, my body is going to be pretty responsive. So I don't need to continue to dig by making changes off my, like let's say my baseline food, because my baseline food's here and my maintenance point's here. So if your maintenance point is here and you start your prep already, here because you pulled down, you're still above your maintenance point. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, like people will go, oh, like, pull away 100 carbs. Like, let's say you're gaining a pound or 2 pounds a week. You pull away 100 carbs, like you're still going to gain a pound, probably 2 pounds a week. Like you've got to make a significant change.
Yeah.
But yeah, in regards to the whole body weight sort of measurement thing, I think when it becomes a target, it becomes more of an issue.
Yeah.
And especially with lifestyle clients as well, because I think they get so obsessed with it and almost like overwhelmed by it that they're expecting a certain number every morning.
Yeah, and they wake up and they see it and they're like, wow. Yeah. And if they don't, it's like,
yeah, what? They like start their day on the back foot and they're beating themselves up because they've not seen that half a pound come off or whatever. That, oh, I expected to see 190 and it said 191. It's like, yeah, but that's life. Like, ultimately, it's there's so many things that dictate your body weight. Like, yes, you are in control of the majority of them, but still, like, what I think people don't understand is that, like, you could be doing everything just perfectly. You could be doing everything right. You could be doing your cardio, doing your steps, tracking your food well. You've done everything right. You got a good night's sleep. You ate at the same time. That doesn't mean you've earned the right to just drop weight. Like, not in one day. Like, you're not going to just go, oh, but I did everything right yesterday.
No.
Like, yeah, fucking well done. Good for you. Like, do it again and again and again and again. And then in 2 weeks' time, you'll realise that, oh shit, it is working and I'm 5 pounds down.
Yeah.
Even though I was stressed that I did it for 1 or 2 days and I didn't see anything. Like, that's what most people struggle with, is they'll do it for a day or two and go, oh, not seen it out yet. It's obviously not working. It's like, what do you mean it's not working? Like, you probably would have gained a pound or two if you'd have done what you were doing previously.
And how many times would you have seen, like, and this has happened to me in my prep, like, I'll look at my body weight and I'll go, I don't really feel like I'm dropping. Like, I feel you almost get attenuated towards, like, you don't think, because it's something that's like not an all-time new low. Like, when I weighed myself this morning, I was like, oh, I feel like I've been in the 99s. I feel like I've been 100s. I've been around the 100 marker now for like a good, like, feels like 2-3 weeks. And I looked at my data and I'm like, I'm 1.5 kilos down from last week. Yeah. I'm 2 kilos down from 10 days ago. And that's with 2 refeeds. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But because it's not a new low, it's almost that mental challenge of like, okay, I'm still objectively dropping.
And also, it's not even just that it's a new low. Like, it's that it's such small differences. Like, if you saw a new low of 0.1 kilos, you're like, you probably don't even know it's a new low. You probably go, oh, actually, when you log it in, you go, oh, that's a new low. You probably don't even realise. Like, I don't even realise when it's a new low for me because it's so close to what it was the day before or 2 days before. Like, it's like, if I reel off my body weight for probably the last few days, I think it was 188.5 this morning, 188 the day before, 188.75 the day before, 189.25, 188.75. Like, it looks as though nothing's happening.
Yeah.
But then, like Reece was saying, when you track it in, like, when I'm looking at my averages, I was 2.5 pounds down last week, even though it feels like I'm pretty much seeing the same data on the scale every morning. So don't worry about what it says every morning. Like, track it and log it in. And then people go, oh, well, I just won't weigh in then. And it's like, oh, that's fine if you don't want to do that. But usually what that then leads to is a lack of accountability because you're not weighing yourself. You're going, oh, well, it doesn't matter because I'm not weighing myself. Yeah. And then what do you know? You're not weighing your food and then you're not holding yourself accountable. You're overeating. You're missing your cardio, all because you've not then got that data point. It doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody needs to weigh themselves. I have clients that don't want to weigh themselves and they still make loads of progress regardless of the phase. But it's helpful.
Yes.
But then again, like we've just been saying, there's a lot of cons to it as well.